Welcome to the Ellinesh Podcast Weekly Gaming Show, where we talk about the latest gaming news. Here's your host, BSTD Gaming, and Ellinesh.
Let the sparks fly. There's no such thing as maybe. Burn it like it's painted. No more hesitating. Let the sparks fly, baby. Drive it like you're racing. You can call me crazy. I'm just tired of waiting. Let the sparks fly, baby. Give me one.
Alright, welcome to the first of our podcast series here. This is Ellinesh's YouTube gaming channel. Joining him is his former speaker slash moderator, BSTD Gaming. My channel link is in the description, and you can also find his and mine. I specialize in doing small clips of levels on my channel. The only things I have posted at the moment are a side quest, a random side quest to test out my video capturing of Nier Automata, as well as the final boss of Lost Spear, which Ellinesh has not seen yet because he's currently playing the game, but I'll show him that once he gets to the final boss, so we avoid spoilers. Here's how it works. Ellinesh will be speaking with him in a minute. I'll be asking him questions and will give my own input. We have a rundown of topics. Every so often, I'll try to lead off each show, hopefully with the first item on our rundown being a latest news item from the week. We'll find out a schedule on which to post these on what day each week after we review and edit and stuff. While we do these reviews, sometimes Ellinesh will be playing games at the same time, since it's fun to do it obviously when you're not doing anything else, but playing games also give you a very interesting perspective. Like, you can add in stuff, because the game we're talking about today, he'll be playing as we talk. On the rundown today, we have an article I wrote, which is in the description below. You can find a PDF link to it, about something that haven't seen covered a lot, but something that I've seen in a very few amount of articles that I want to also link in the description of where I found some of the source information, stating the future of Square Enix and their what some of the representatives have said about the future of turn-based RPGs. That would be the topic of our show today. Also in the rundown, I will ask Ellinesh I'll ask him questions about the stuff I wrote in the article that I want to hear, hopefully, feedback from people as they listen in. Our third item today is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, very briefly. Our fourth item is another recent topic that came out on August 7th, and that is the IGN plagiarism case on Boomstick Gaming. Although I want to clarify before we get to there that the actions of one person, in this case Philip Muchin, the one of the IGN reviewers who was accused of plagiarizing a Boomstick review game of Dead Cells, does not represent the entire organization. It's just one person. There are a million other reviewers there who that does not represent, which we'll get that out of the way early. And the other items we'll address towards the end of our show is the Xbox 2 and the rumors around there being two system versions of it. We'll talk about games we have beat that we plan to do upcoming reviews for in separate videos dedicated to each of those. Also on the show, we'll talk about all nostalgic games that we plan to play in the future or that we are currently playing. We also plan on telling you what games we're currently playing at the moment. aka Ellinesh is playing Lost Spear as we're talking now. And we'll lastly discuss our upcoming reviews and a briefing on next week's episode. We'll try to do this consistently so that you guys have consistent content. Joining us today and playing Ostia right now is Ellinesh. How are you today? Okay. In the article, you can read it for yourself. The first item on the rundown is that it's all about Square moving away from RPGs. Not RPGs, turn-based RPGs, my apologies. One of my favorite things to do is play games, and of late it's been to learn about RPGs. I am not as well versed in the RPG world or history as Ellinesh is. It's a very interesting history that we people know about, but the story you might read in the article has not been heavily covered, which is why we decided to talk about it today as the lead-off topic. Before we get into the questions I have here, Ellinesh, you like RPGs a lot. The games we reviewed so far have been Nier Automata, Persona 5, but as for Square Enix RPGs, as to maybe which RPG is your favorite, which is your favorite, and why do you like them?
I like the Final Fantasy franchise before 15.
Your favorite Final Fantasy game would be which?
My favorite Final Fantasy game is Final Fantasy 7.
Got it. I'm only played a handful, not even, of Final Fantasy games. I'm still learning the allure of it, although it seems to be changing by the day. I've played Explorers in years past. I played tidbits of Final Fantasy 13, the first one, not 2 or 3, and I've also played 15 and beat it on normal. So, largely put, Square wants to move forward. They said that they are responsible for innovating the gaming industry. Turn-based RPGs, they said, have become what they are today in large part because of them. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes.
Another thing they believe is that in order to move forward, they need to change the style of their games. Turn-based RPGs will not challenge the system's power. Games such as Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to say Monster Hunter World, but I won't, since that's not as applicable to this argument, I don't think. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But games such as Horizon Zero Dawn, Final Fantasy 15, heck, even The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, all challenge those systems' max capabilities. Turn-based RPGs are, like, according to Square's CEO, a waste of power. For example, Lost Spear, which is what Ellinesh is playing now, if he were to play it on the PS4, it runs in 60 frames per second. On the Switch, it runs at 30. For an RPG, I've heard a lot of people say that frame rate does not matter, and that they don't push graphics in turn-based. Is that accurate?
Correct.
So would sticking with turn-based RPGs of the past make it seem like Square Enix is afraid to move on, as their director believes?
No.
In your own words, doesn't be much, but why would that be?
Turn-based RPGs are very good. They do what they do and they do it right.
One thing I like about them is that I feel like with the advancements in technology, people have begun to think that we need to impress with graphics over story. That's my opinion. I'll get Ellinesh's take in a moment. I feel like people are like, let's go for graphics, effects, explosions, violence with the new cameras, or that's in movies, but in games, technology, computers that come out today that take priority over storytelling. And graphics are nice, but I think we both prioritize storytelling over graphics. Do you see companies going for graphics over storytelling a lot?
Not much, but it happens.
Addressing a direct quote from the director of Final Fantasy 15, saying that if Chrono Trigger released for the first time today, it would look like trash compared to Final Fantasy 15, a game that challenges the PS4's capabilities with its open world finesse. He also said it would fail to be a cult classic if it came out today, because Chrono Trigger would look horrible compared to, say, for example, Horizon Zero Dawn. Do you agree with that?
No.
Have you played Chrono Trigger, or like, what do you know about it? Why do you think it would still be a success?
Chrono Trigger was good because the storytelling was good and the fact that it was something new.
Okay. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's also a Square game, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Question number 2 out of 4 on this first topic. Continuing the logic of the last question, Tabata, the director of Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy Type 0, the upcoming sequel to Type 0, Type Next, as well as, in a few years from now probably, Final Fantasy 16, my apologies. He says that the turn-based RPGs make games look old compared to Final Fantasy 15. Thus the reason why the Final Fantasy VII Remake will have the exact gameplay style of Final Fantasy 15. Hack and slash, as Ellinesh has, whenever I've spoken to him about, I think he used the word hack and slash. Do you like or dislike how they are moving away from turn-based to make Final Fantasy VII Remake play like Final Fantasy 15?
I dislike the way that they're going.
Do you think it should have turn-based like the original?
I believe it should be turn-based, yes.
Okay. Question number 3. Tokyo RPG Factory, one of the 3 studios that Square made to see if people cared about RPGs. The fact that games such as Bravely Default from Silicon Studio was a cult classic in reviews, but ultimately received underwhelming sales. Ellinesh has mentioned that he has some suspicions about the financial report, which I'll let him say for himself if that's true or not. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But, do you believe that, people should support Tokyo RPG's games? I'm Setsuna Lost Beer just to prove to Square that turn-based RPGs should not be a thing of the past.
They don't necessarily need to go out of their way to do it, but they should still take a look at the games, because they are very good games.
Are you referring to Lost Beer and I'm Setsuna?
Not I Am Setsuna, I didn't like I Am Setsuna, but Lost Sphere, I'd give it a try.
Okay. One of the advantages to trying out the game is that its pricing I thought was reasonable. I Am Setsuna retailed at $40 upon release, Lost Beer at $50. Instead of going the full retail price of $60, do you agree that was a smart choice on their move as a new studio?
As a new studio, it's probably better if they keep their prices cheaper so that they can test out the society if they feel they're ready for their games.
And you also said that it was a bad idea for the studio or Tokyo RPG Factory to say, we are trying to be the next Chrono Trigger. You said that was a bad idea to state that?
They shouldn't be trying to be somebody else's work.
You could say they're trying to fill a gap, like they said, of nostalgia that people are like, well, we don't have these games anymore that, remind us of the old days, sort of like the allure behind Octopath Traveler. What do you say to that?
I myself have only tried a little bit of Octopath Traveler. I can't say anything in specific about that.
Of course, we will be talking about that game in the future and playing it and hopefully reviewing it. Don't expect it too soon because that game is as both as even the Bravely series was. It's a grind. There's 8 stories, but grinding RPGs are no stranger to Ellinesh, correct?
I do enjoy grinding.
Alright. Going on to the last question of question number 3. Should Tokyo RPG Factory receive a third chance?
Sure.
You've seen steady improvement with this game, Lost Beer over I Am Setsuna?
I myself did enjoy I Am Setsuna, as I've said before. I thought it was pretty bad. I'm kind of enjoying Lost Sphere right now. Only because of the gameplay.
Got it.
The story's kind of good too, but the gameplay is definitely harder than the original.
People have complained that this game has been unbalanced. The closest thing you've seen is Zimrod, but you're a few chapters in now, you're actually fighting a green mech robot in the earlier parts of the game.
It's kind of black, red, and gold right now, but I've already gone through all the phases of this fight. I just lost on the last stage because of the instant death ability.
before moving on to Smash, we'll stick to this for a moment. What battle mode enhancements were made that made you enjoy this game over the original's battle system? Which you said was good, I think, but this one makes it better. What's better about this one?
This one just feels smoother than I Am Setsuna, whereas I Am Setsuna, you could come into the game as a new player, and while it's new player friendly for people like me who enjoy turn-based RPGs very often, I just felt it wasn't very welcoming for us.
Last question on this game. Last two, I'm sorry. The vocal suits. What they said was a tribute to what you corrected me. I thought it was 7, it was Final Fantasy 8. This company takes risk.
Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that, I'm unsure. Don't quote me on that, I'm unsure about that.
Correct us in the comments if we're wrong about that, but the vocal suit mechanics, do you like the risk they took?
Not particularly. It's more annoying than anything else.
The stealth section you played about an hour ago. How was that?
The stealth section was pretty dumb.
Okay. I believe it was. I compared it to Fire Emblem Echo's version of trying to add dungeon crawling, which just didn't fit. Would you say that's an accurate comparison?
Trying to add a stealth section to a game that doesn't have a stealth mechanic doesn't quite work. I'm pretty sure they added a stealth section into one of the Legend of Zelda games, and people were just very unhappy about that.
That makes total sense. It's a risk. I guess some would credit them for trying, and I like people for trying. It's just sometimes they hit or miss, I guess, right?
It's a miss on this.
Got it. Moving on, I made a joke before we get into a more serious topic. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is releasing on December 7th. Featuring every single character from every single Smash game in just about every stage. I made a prediction. They have a new squad mode where you use like 6-on-6, where I tried to guess who Ellinesh would take. As for my team I would use, it would be Mario, Zelda, Chrom, Lucina, Robin, and Greninja. Ellinesh. I picked, I went with Cloud, Moth, Roy, Ike, Corrin, Mewtwo, or swapping one of those out with the Pokemon trainers. So Ellinesh, you corrected me, I was wrong on that. Who would be your, swap outs from this list?
Well, I would take Cloud and Corrin, but I don't like the playstyle of Marth, Roy, Ike, Mewtwo, and the Pokemon trainers, so Samus would be on that list. Robin, because I like the way Robin plays.
If I were to go with the male or female Robin, or let you have your preference, which one would you take, since you could see them as different characters?
Red-headed female Robin.
Okay. Number 4, we're moving quickly today. Recent case of IGN plagiarism. Like I said, it's one person, not the entire company, against Boomstick Gaming. You heard the video comparison yourself from Boomstick's perspective. IGN's Brian Altano released a apology on behalf of IGN. We did not get a chance to view that, but we saw the obvious plagiarism, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, enough to make Philip Buchin of IGN, the writer who plagiarized Boomstick Gaming, lose his job. Did you feel it was plagiarism in your opinion?
He had basically the same exact opinions as somebody else, and while that's rare, I could have the same exact opinions as, say, BTSD over here, or BSTD, whatever his name is.
The fact that his talking came at the exact timestamps, like 3:07 as Boomstick Gaming, did that give it away?
That did kind of give it away there.
Is it a big deal in the industry, and in your opinion, did it warrant a firing?
It did warrant a firing simply because of the fact that he didn't have his own idea for his... Hold on a second.
It wasn't his own idea.
It wasn't his own idea, and he had basically taken somebody else's idea and decided, hey, this is a great idea, I'm gonna use this and not give him credit for it.
Got it. Moving on quickly. Item number 5. Xbox 2 has rumor details. one system, $500, will be just like the Xbox One, a disc, and it plays something like 4K 60 frames per second. An alternate version for people who don't want to put out $500, a $100 to $200 Xbox, let's call it mini for the time being, it cannot accept discs, only runs at 1080 60 frames just like the Xbox One, and is only able to buy games via Steam downloading type of thing. What's your opinion on those two consoles?
That's just dumb, honestly. Why would you have no way to get physical copies for the $100 version?
Shouldn't there be an alternative for cheaper, for people who can afford the $500 Xbox?
There could be a cheaper option, yes, but what they're doing is they're making a completely separate system for basically less of a lesser system.
So you believe that both consoles, what I'm hearing, should have discs, and that shouldn't be the losing factor in price?
Yes.
Okay. Let's run through some of these quickly. We have about 5 more minutes in our show. Beat games that we will be doing reviews on in the future. Correct me if I miss any. Reading Historia. The original came out on Nintendo DS. But we played Reading Historia Perfect Chronology that added a whole nother element to the story with a new character called Nemesia, who we won't spoil, but I think they're more good than not. Would you agree with that?
I'd say yes.
Oh, okay. Quickly before we continue, you've beat this boss on this third phase, the mech robot. Is that accurate?
No, I've just beaten the second phase. I'm about to go into the third phase. I'm just restocking all of my HP and MP for this next stage of the fight so that I can go all out with my casting on Obaro or whatever the heck his name is.
I was gonna ask if you were quick save before you fought him.
I cannot.
Oh yeah. But here's the other thing I was curious about. There's a lot of slack around the final boss of Lost Spear, saying that there's one character who makes your team invincible for 2 hits, and that it's nearly impossible to beat without this character. After you beat the game, or after you're able to beat him if you are, would you be willing to perhaps upload a video on the PS4 version where you demonstrate how to beat this game without using that one invincible character?
I can certainly attempt to.
I'm only asking because we might try to do challenges at some point. I think you might have said, I might be wrong, something referring to maybe Dragon Quest in the future.
I'm willing to do a Dragon Quest where I'll delete the run if the whole party wipes.
Okay. Keep that in mind. Another game I've played, Ellinesh has played, Bravely Default. I couldn't beat the final boss. I gave up. Almost happened in Lost Spear, but I got lucky because the guy missed hitting the final boss. It was that close. Anyway, you've beaten Bravely Default, and we will do a review in the near future while it's still fresh in our mind, along with reading the story at some point. But as for Bravely Default, not spoiling too much, but did you feel positive about it before we do our review?
Bravely Default, I'd say it was alright. I didn't quite like the way that they went about having that final boss do her stuff, her stuff, but I suppose it did alright.
We'll have an in-depth review in the future, and I'll read the story. Another game that we will be talking about eventually is a Dragon Quest game that Ellinesh has beaten. As to which one, I don't know, but he'll let you know when you see the review. We have a lot of reviews coming up for you. Fallen Echo Shadow of Valentia will be talking about a remake. Did you like that game? Just simply put.
I liked the way that it let me play whoever I wanted as my main person. Like, after I got past a certain point, of course.
Was there an issue you said with when I told you, hey, the final boss is this soon? You didn't like that or something?
I didn't like the fact that it was so short.
Is that not well? To not be hypocritical, you've also said, I believe, that you're excited that they might do a remake of Sacred Stones, that they're probably going to do what they said in the near future. There's still no win yet. You would want a direct port, right?
I would appreciate a direct port because I loved Sacred Stones.
But with that, would it be hypocritical to say that to take off points from Echoes because it was a direct port in a way with how fast it ended? Would that be a knock against the original Fire Emblem Guardian rather than Echoes, the remake?
It could be a knock against it, sure, but I like Sacred Stones. My nostalgia will prevent me from being critical about that. I didn't play the original Gaiden, so I don't have that kind of limitation.
Of course. Moving on, World of Final Fantasy, we'll review that. A game you've have 2 copies of, but it's a game that I believe you liked.
I only have the 1 copy. You took the other one. I just have the case up there.
Right.
I beat the game completely, not only I have 100% of the achievements.
That'll be a fun review. We will also review Rhyme Setsuna with the now knowledge of Total RPG Factory. Basically, it's not a great game. You didn't like it, you said too much. But to support the seeming downfall of RPGs, it's worth a try. It's dropped to $20 since.
I'd say it's worth a try at least once. I didn't like it, but someone up there may.
Is it a game? Say there was someone who, first RPG, you want it to be easy. Would you refer them to that game? Or would you refer people to Final Fantasy X, which I've heard you say before?
Final Fantasy X isn't hard or easy. Final Fantasy X just requires you to use your brain, which BSTD over here doesn't know how to use. I'd recommend Final Fantasy X over I Am Setsuna, but if you don't have enough cash, because money is, of course, a limiter, I'd say go ahead and try out I Am Setsuna.
You don't need to necessarily try out that game before Ostia, correct?
No, you can play whichever game you want first.
Got it. Moving on. The Witcher we'll also talk about. I'm thinking about doing a review. We'll ask him if he wants to do one differently since the Witcher series is complete. Studio Project Red is moving on to a new game called Cyberpunk 2077. A new franchise, a new trilogy they're working on. But we can do an overview of the Witcher series, which I'm guessing will be very positive on a lot of notes, right?
That depends on which game you're talking about, because I never played the first one, but I played the second and the third one.
Okay. We will also be doing nostalgic games in the future too. Hopefully, I'll be planning to do a review of the first Fire Emblem game I ever played, which is Awakening, in preparation of the new one coming out in the spring, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Ellinesh plans to play Fire Emblem Fates at some point, I believe. Currently playing, I'm playing Type 0. You will hear my impressions of it next week. As for Ellinesh, he's playing Lost Spear at the moment, Divinity Original Sin. We will be doing opinions on those. I'm also playing Story of Seasons Trio of Towns, which is a Harvest Moon spin-off. It's very, very good. It's kind of those, if you like this kind of game, it's not a, it's a really, it's not for everyone, but if you're into farming simulation, which I think Ellinesh is to some degree with, what's that game he has? You know what I'm talking about?
Stardew Valley.
Yes, and you like that game somewhat?
I do appreciate Stardew Valley, it is pretty good. There's the instant death again.
And another game you also like is Divinity Original Sin. Number 2 is coming out soon. I'm looking to play that when it
Number
comes
2 is
out.
already out, it's just the definitive edition that's coming out.
Has it been out on PS4 before?
I don't believe so, I think it was PC only.
How do you feel about the first one we're playing now?
the difficulty needs to be spoken about, because tactician mode, I can't even do it solo. I have to do it with this idiot over here.
We will have a review about, I think next episode we'll just talk a lot about that game, because that game has so many mechanics. You played a new game today that you showed me. You wanna tell us what that was?
It was Darkest Dungeon for the PS4. There's that insta-death again. Darkest Dungeon, it's got a good mechanic to it. It's called the stress mechanic. You can't take the same set of people into this dungeon over and over again, because they'll get more and more stressed out. They'll get more bad effects put on them from this dungeon. And I think that's a great idea. There's the insta-death again. Are you kidding me?
I never heard of it. Why should me and other people try for the first time? The aesthetics, the graphics looked mystical. That's the word I thought of. It looked really, you said dark. It looks really like mystical, meaning epic, and like that medieval style that I personally love. Would you say that's accurate?
I'd say there's multiple insta-deaths going off. Of course there is. What was I saying?
Why should newcomers try the game that you're playing? Maybe you bring new light to it, like you would to meet some people.
Trying out a new game, that's just kind of what gamers should do. So, for example, I pick up, I don't know, Monster Hunter World for the first time, and there's bad reviews about it, or good reviews, bad reviews, good reviews, whatever. People don't like it, people love it, whatever. If you don't make your own opinion on games, then you're just gonna be going with what other people tell you.
You were at GameStop, funny enough, recently, and there was a game that was mentioned that someone wanted an opinion on, and you gave.
I did. It was called Town of Light. I like Town of Light. It's a good game. But some people don't like it. Some people love it. Again, make your own opinions.
Totally agree with. Let me ask you this on that topic. I'm Setsuna and Ostia. One game you like, one game not so much. In light of everything we talked about today, with how Square Enix is moving away from turn-based RPGs, does it make you grateful to have tried it?
To have tried it? Sure, I like the game. But I like Lost Sphere. But trying out... There, exploded, I win. Trying out Lost Sphere, and I just died. Blew itself up and critically hit me and killed me.
I forgot to mention that. That's a mechanic in... Is that a mechanic? It was in I'm Setsuna and Ostia. The fact that they blow themselves up along with you. Do you like that mechanic in these games?
I mean, the mechanical enemies, it makes sense for them to blow themselves up. But the fact that it hit all of them that were especially far away, and it critically hit them, that's what irritates me. I'm just lucky I quick saved right before the fight.
The first or the last one?
The first one, you can't quick save in between the three boss fights.
Gotcha. So you just have to be at full health to go into vocal suits at that point, I guess?
Possible.
We're nearing the end of today's podcast. Tales of Berseria. That's a game in progress. We'll talk about that, of course. I asked you what was your favorite game that we played together, and I think on the top of the list you put that game, correct?
I did enjoy Tales of Berseria.
Why do you like it? I know you also like the older Tales games too, like Vesperia, which is going to be a remake.
I like Berseria because it's got the new mechanics for the main character, It's been out for a while. If you don't know what it is, I'm spoiling it. Sorry. I like the way that Velvet plays. She moves around, she can consume the enemies. It's great.
It's, that's the kind of innovation you like, whereas this game all echoes stealth, vocal suit gimmicks. Those don't work, but I wouldn't call them Berserker gimmicks. I would call those well thought out innovations. Would you say so?
I would say they were well thought out. The fact that they threw a suicidal boss at me that crit me for some reason just really annoys me.
Do you agree with the unfair difficulties of this game so far, or was that technically like something you just like forgot?
Well, I have it in hard mode, so of course the boss fights are going to be difficult. But the fact that they just crit me on a death blow is really annoying, especially since this boss throws out insta-kills like candy.
One day we'll do captures, maybe even if you would not spare potentially receive a replay from you on the PS4.
On the PS4?
So you beat it,
Maybe.
you want to do it again.
Maybe. It all depends on if I feel like playing it again, honestly. Depends on how I feel after that final boss.
Why did Persona 5, which we have already reviewed, go check it out, why did that game have such a great read? You played it a lot of times after you beat it. You beat it numerous times. What was the appeal with replaying that game that you look for maybe in other games like this?
Well, the fact that the New Game Plus system in Persona 5, the fact that I can go through basically solo after my first playthrough, that was kind of fun. I liked doing that.
It gave you a reason to do it.
Yeah, it gave me a reason to just make random difficult challenges for myself. So I went through the entire game in merciless mode solo because I could. When I could, of course.
Whereas I'm Setsuna, or heck, even Bravely Default wouldn't even give you maybe a reason or a new difficulty or desire to do it, perhaps.
For Bravely Default, there's just like 400 hours of gameplay that I put into that, and I went to the final boss in seconds, and she just opened up with a insta-kill move that I had to down her before she even managed to do. That was really annoying.
For heck's sake, would you put Lost Spear up? Would you see Lost Spear as more fun than? Well, here's the thing: the studios we talked about, Silicon behind the Bravely series, they make they make harder games than Tokyo RPG Factory. Would you say so?
Repeat that last one.
Silicon Studios, who does the Bravely series, makes harder games than Tokyo RPG Factory. Would you say so?
I'd say yes, simply because they know how to balance their games, and Tokyo RPG is relatively new studio.
Right. Moving on to our last thing. Upcoming reviews will be Fallout 4 by Ellinesh. He'll also be reviewing Warriors All-Stars, is that correct?
Yeah, I'll doing a review of Warriors All-Star.
Came out not too long before Fantasy Warriors 9, which by the way 9 had some pretty unfair reviews, but what made you do you like All-Stars, or?
I went on my way for this game to get it because I appreciate the Namco, not Namco,
Koei Tecmo.
there you go, Koei Tecmo. I like them. I like their studio. They're really good. I like all of the games.
Fallen Warriors being one of them. Would you ever try out if I brought over Hyrule Warriors?
It's possible, but again, it all depends on You have that for the DS, right?
It's releasing in a few weeks a definitive edition that has all the Wii U and DS content on Nintendo Switch. In a definitive edition.
Yeah, I can play it.
I'll be reviewing Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a game I've played, and there's some really good stuff. The graphics are great. The side quests are some of the best I've seen so far. I haven't played a quarter of the amount of games Ellinesh has played, but the side quests were better than in 15, I'll say that.
Says you.
But you
Says you. You
Says
went out of
me.
your way to do everything before, what, chapter 1?
correct. I did skip a few side quests that were ridiculous, but
You went out of your way for it, though.
I did every one for a while.
You did all of the stuff that you could just so that you'd be high enough level for the game.
Well, my thing was that one thing I hate is not being able to beat the game I paid for. That's why I'm playing Story Seasons, because my parents played Harvest Moon and I never was able to beat it because I was too young to understand the mechanics at 7 years old. Same goes for Majora's Mask. The second GameCube game they ever bought me, I never beat it. So,
I just charmed it. How the hell did I charm it?
I thought that would work on humans, not a robot.
I hit the human and the robot and they both got charmed. I mean,
And
as long
this
as
is a
he
boss.
stops- As long as he stops hitting me, I suppose I really don't care.
Maybe with Charles III phase, he won't use the laser on you.
No, he's gonna keep using the charm doesn't last that long.
So yeah, it's a new year. Closing thoughts I want to ask Ellinesh, with this new podcast style and stuff, like, what are your hopes for this year? And like all the games we had to review, the Warriors, the Fallout, everything. What are you looking forward to?
What am I looking forward to reviewing?
What's your hopes for the channel in this next year?
Having any viewers at all, that would be nice. But just people enjoying the content would be good.
Maybe. More so for me in the beginning, I think you'll see slight gameplay stuff, like whenever Ness gets to the final boss. Hopefully he doesn't spoil it, but then he'll see my version of how I almost lost. But you might upload stuff from there. Listen, how I think you said in your persona you want to upload how you beat something on it.
I mean, I would like to, and there goes a million crits on me. I would like to upload how I do with boss fights and stuff like that, but we don't necessarily need to. BSTD over here is my editor.
But as always, thank you for listening. If you watched our videos from last year, special thank you for that. Check out the links in the description. We will try to keep this podcast going once a week. Having fun with this, and it's leisure. We'll kick back usually, and one special thing we think we can offer sometimes, hopefully, is we do this while we're playing a game, so that you get spontaneous commentary as we're talking about something else sometimes, like you're seeing right now. This boss fight, by the time we have this podcast next week, I'm sure he'll have a video, or rather a explanation on how he beat this boss fight. Now that he technically beat it once, but how to be prepared, and just remember, like with robots, they're gonna blow up. So yeah, I'm BSTD Gaming. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week, and if you stay for the entire podcast, thank you so much. Any last words, Ellinesh?
Thank you for listening, watching, whatever. I hope you have a great night, day, whatever. See you next time.